All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We have a new project today. This is going to be something a little bit different from what we normally have. We're not doing a underbed notch or anything because, as you can see, he already has got it tubbed out and got the notch under there. He's got a step notch already. So what we're actually going to be doing on this, we're going to be fixing the bedside on here. He wants me to go ahead and try to fix this and get this taken care of. Along with, he wants to add some tubs in the front. Go ahead and do that. I have those tubs on order, so they're on their way. And we're getting rid of the leaf springs in the back, and we're going with different project going on. We have a 2003-ish, I believe it was, Silverado Extended Cab that we are going to be doing a rear coilover setup on from Twisted Metalworkz. So I didn't bore you. I'm not going to bore you guys this time with the disassembly of it because you already seen the last two videos or three videos of how I take off the bed using my trusty little engine hoist. But we got the bed sitting over here. Went ahead and take off the bed. And then here is the 3-link kit from Twisted Metalworkz, not aside from my Yeti, but we have all the 4 links. It's like a parallel 4-link, but it's got like the link up across the top. God, what's it fucking called? I keep forgetting what these are called. Anyways, these keep it from going side to side. It's welded from like the side of the step notch over here right over to on top of the axle itself. So along with this link kit, he's got Viking Performance double adjustable coilovers. So I already took measurements of the truck with the weight of the bed on there. So whenever I go to adjust the height, I'm going to adjust it back to where he had it before. So he doesn't want to go any lower because he is actually pretty low on the gas tank to rubbing the floor. So I'm gonna just reset it back to where his stock height was. But that is gonna be the plan for this project, is installing this whole 3-link kit. These come at bare metal, they're not coated with anything. So I am going to end up painting them the same color to match the truck. That's the other reason why we're thinking of leaving it uncovered, so you can see more of the inside, all the components, because I am gonna go ahead and just redo these and paint these in a red color. So in order to take those in, to put that kit in, leaf springs come out. I don't know if I'm going to leave these hangers on there. I mean, they're going to be useless. There's really no point in having them anymore if he's going to go with that. However, up here, that kit calls for them being welded on the inside, but because we're not removing the gas tank, we're going to end up welding them on the outside. So as we did with the first video that I did of the customer, we're going to end up cutting these little brackets off, just cutting the rivets out and then replacing it with the bracket for the links on the outside. So these will pretty much, I don't know if I have the correct side in my hand right here, but that little lip right there is pretty much going to sit right up under the frame rail, and then your links will bolt right up to that. So I'm gonna get to trying to figure this out. I think so. Like I said, we're gonna remove the leaf spring. Go ahead and just remove this, I think, out of the way. I'm gonna set the axle up on jack stands, that way we can kind of get a center line. He does want it to move the axle back a little bit, so I'm gonna have to weld the bracket onto the axle first, align the links, set my pinion angle, and then weld the front brackets, because I'm going to try to move that axle back a little bit so it sits just more centered towards in the wheel well, because it is sitting, I believe, too far forward. It's got more space on the back than towards the front. So that's enough talking. I'm gonna go ahead and start backing it up in here, get it set up, and we'll get to redoing this whole rear end and installing the new Viking 3-link kit. All right, so I've already started disassembling the whole leaf spring pack. I already got the old flip kit over here. I believe this is gonna be like a 8-inch flip kit because he has apparently a 310 drop. That is a 2-inch drop shackle, and he still has the factory front and rear hangers. So that can, without that rear hanger, the shackle, I mean, that should be technically a 8-inch flip kit. So that's gonna take quite a bit of grinding with the angle grinder. That's why I was thinking of taking the whole axle out and just doing that and cutting it off of the truck so I have better access. So yeah, I'm gonna put my camera up and either again put it on the time lapse or see how I'm gonna record all this. But
tilted on the gate, scraping up the lip like I was skating. Your bra told me to come over, so I got her waiting. She used to be a big until she saw my million. When she opened up the front door, like I was trick or treating. She wanna come and do a dance all up in my lap. Don't need to draw the dick, we're getting feeling hot. I twitch her on the low, put on my looks. I gotta get it, gotta go. My team and I trying to collect this dough now.
well, that was a little bit of a pain trying to get that bolt out, because if y'all didn't know, in order to get this bolt out for the leaf spring, say if you're doing this for this bracket, to replace this bracket to do the front hanger, the bolt will not come out because of the gas tank. So you either have to, pretty much you have to just drop the tank and try to move it over as much as you can. But being that we're replacing that front bracket with the 4-link kit, the little bracket that's going to be welded on the outside, I just went ahead and cut the bracket off and slid the leaf spring out. However, it does still have the bolt stuck in there, but at least you can turn the bolt a little bit more. And what I did was I took a pry bar and just kind of like pushed the gas tank a little bit in, because it is plastic, so it does flex. So I pushed the gas tank in a little bit just to get that bolt out. But that, and then these brake lines are always a pain to try to get off. I need to find the specialty tool for this, but this was a little bit of a pain to get off, but I got that out and got the little brackets off. Now all that's left to do is to unbolt the drive shaft, take the shocks off, and disconnect the brake line. So I think once I get that out of the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and just take the whole thing out and weld the whole bracket on the outside over here. So that is gonna be the next step.
Hey, Shay, gonna go easy, bro.
Hop out the whip and you know that I spin. They gotta get it cause you know that I win. Fuck with your haters, say no need your pen. Stacking money way to touching the ceiling. Not worry about when I'm gonna go beat it. Talking about killing you pussies ain't winning. Just go and burn up my check up, cause you know when I'm coming, I'm next up. Thinking we're bros, counting my dough. Fucking my best for your blast in your dome. How you think I'ma go speed? It ain't even from the beginning. Coming at me cause you know that I win. Can't even show you your bitches and pig. Wanting the gun, then I'm picking the fist up. Wanna try me cause you know that I'm next up. Got you got all of me ballin' the picture. She fucking on me while she done. Left you on red, don't get it twisted, I'd rather get red. Talking about how many I heard what you said. Nigga, you be on the pity shit. Planning a plot like the Tupac and Diddy shit. Rolling no click, best take your vest off. Cause of the headache, you're gonna go pop it, just take off. Hop out the whip and you know that I spin. They gotta get it cause you know that I win. Fuck with your haters, say no need your pen.
All right, well, it was a little bit of a hassle, but I got it out. The only downside, my jack has now officially made it into the scrap pile. It has officially taken a crap. This one cylinder right here keep getting stuck at the bottom. I put bunch of lubrication stuff, trying to get it to hammer it and try to get it to come back up, but you pump it and it stays down and it won't pump any more fluid. So gonna have to officially retire my jack. I'm gonna have to go get a new one. But we got the rear end out. What I'm working on now is I'm gonna take off these brake lines and take off the brake caliper on each side. Just get the hoses, the brake stuff out of the way so I don't run a risk of cutting into that. Plus, not only are we taking off this saddle bracket for the leaf spring, but we're gonna go ahead and cut this off. Cut this remaining bracket off that they just left sitting there. We're leaving these brackets on there. I might just take it off and kind of touch them up a little bit, unbolt them. Need this on there for the brake hose. Need to take this off. That's what was on the other side. This was the remainder of the shock bracket, I think it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, this off, this off, and I'm just gonna end up cleaning up the whole thing. And once I get the new bracket on there and we set it back in place and get it squared up where we need to, we're gonna paint the whole thing for them. So yeah, I'm gonna work on now getting the brick line off, and I'm gonna spend the time and start cutting all these brackets off. Nothing too much, nothing too interesting. So what I'll do is I'll put on a time lapse or something, but it's kind of hard to do that right now because I am getting a couple of people texting me for work. And at the moment, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to continue taking work because I already have a few jobs lined up and I'm going to be going on vacation soon. So we're going to get to cutting this up.
I'm gonna go beat and talking about killing you pussies and win. Just go and run up my checkup, cause you know when I'm coming, I'm next up. Yeah, I'm pulling up with the low post, 24s creeping when I pull up in the slow-mo. It's acting hard, but they fucking with the po-po. Tryna fuck with me and you know that's a no-no. Yeah, I got a heart, but you know I had a turncoat. Where was you when I was a villain on the down low? Fell on my partner, but there when I need. Fuck up that praying, got off on my knees. Ain't no more saving, they're coming for me. Got off my ass and stacked up on some G's. You play hate, but acting hard on the keys. Can't get me off your mind, I be haunted in your dreams. Better niggas hear me like the skin on my teeth. Having you shaking like you were a fiend. Can't say all the shit that I've been through, but not gonna lie about what I'ma come up and gon' do. Hop out the whip and you know that I spin. They gotta get it cause you know that I win. Fuck with your haters, say no need your pin. Stacking money, wait, they're touching the scene. Now we're about when I'm gonna go beat.
All right, so after several hours of cutting, grinding, and cleaning up, went ahead and knocked the dirt off of the pumpkin right there and removed the cables out of the way because I wanted to get in here and clean that a little bit. We got it all cleaned up and out of the way. I was about to put it back in, but I'm having second thoughts, and I think I'm honestly gonna redo this just because I'm a little sketched out by the welds. I mean, they'll hold, but see if I can find that one that was kind of questionable. There was one of these in here, but it's on the underside. You wouldn't be able to see it, but it's bothering me. And being now that my name's gonna be on it, I would rather replace that. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and cut these out and re-weld the ones that came with his kit. He's got them anyways, so I'll just take a grinder to these, knock off the surface rest, primer them, and then weld these back on in the same locations, and then fully weld them once I'm sure they're gonna be in the correct spot. So I think that's what I'm gonna do now, is just go ahead and get that out of the way. Because I didn't notice it, I was gonna keep them, but once I turned it over when I was cleaning this, pretty much ended up seeing that. And yeah. No bueno. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these taken care of and knock them out and get the new ones on there. Well, along with cutting out those old shock tabs, now it's ready to have the new ones welded on, and hopefully a lot better than the welds they had on there before. But before I weld that, I want to wait until I get it back on the truck so we can make sure the shocks are going to be in the correct spot. And on the old shock, one of these, yeah, see that shock tab was at a weird angle. It wasn't like the perfect 90 up to the shock, so it was rubbing right there on the corner when it moves. There you go. So I kind of want to wait until I get everything set up on the truck to make sure it's sitting where it needs to be, and then adjust those lower tabs on the axle to make sure they're not going to have that same rubbing issue on the new ones. And I went ahead and also cut off these front hangers because this is where the front of the link kit is going to sit. I believe this is the driver's side. This is over here, the passenger side. Actually, no. I got it backwards. This is going to sit on this side. Because, see, now normally this would go on the inside, on that side. But since we're going to do it on the outside, we're going to have to flip them around. And then depending on where the axle sits back there, I'm going to set the links kind of like at the midpoint of the travel of the threads. And then set this on plate in place and see where it's going to have to sit back here. So that's pretty much where that's going to go. End up going something like that. But I want to get the rears in set up. I'm still debating on how I'm going to be able to do this, because I'm thinking of just going ahead and also redoing this for him. So he said if I want to go ahead and redo it, he said he had no problem with redoing it. Yeah, but I'm still trying to figure out how to brace everything and put the new notch in there. So yeah, it's getting pretty late now. I'm gonna call it a night so my neighbors don't call the cops on me. So I will pick this back up tomorrow morning.
You know that I spin, they gotta get it, cause you know that I win. Fuck with your haters, say no need your pen. Stacking money, way to touching the scene. Not worry about what I'm gonna go feed. And talking about killing you pussies that win. Just go and run up my check up, cause you know when I'm coming, I'm next up. Thinking we're bros, counting my dough. Fucking my best for your blast in your dome. How you think I'ma go speed? It ain't even from the beginning. Coming at me cause you know that I win. Can't even show you your bitches and pig. Holding the gun and I'm picking the fist up. Wanna try me cause you know that I'm next up. Got you got all of me bone in the picture, she fucking on